Hi, good morning. As you suggest, my name's Glyn. I'm here from Front Porch Digital. And I'm here to talk to you about links. A few initial slides just to tell you who we are for those that aren't aware of us. We're a global company. Customers really all over the world. I've highlighted just the UK for you guys, but effectively we are working with some of the larger broadcasters around the world, including these guys and some of these guys. So quite a portfolio of customers and very prevalent in the broadcast space, as I suggested. And that's really because of the solution suite that we have. We do have mass migration products. We have content storage management, which is really what we're best known for. The product in that field that we're best known for is a product called Diva Archive. Really sort of our bread and butter. We've got some other solutions, but I'll come to. We do have online publishing solutions and our links service offering rather than a product. So just a quick sentence or two about CSM. This is a CSM. It's effectively a middle layer tier, similar to what Nick from Object Matrix mentioned earlier, but really what we are is that middleware managing your tiered storage. So regardless of what you're using up here, video servers, MAMs, PAMs, DAMs, whatever it may be, we've been in this space for many, many years. They're integrated with our API such that, as Nick suggested earlier, you just issue an archive, you issue a restore, and we deal with all of the rest of it underneath that level. And whether you're using an Object Matrix NAS or some SAN, whatever your nearline disk is, we integrate with them all pretty much. Likewise, with whatever data tape library you want to support, whether it's an LTO library, Jaguar drives, T10KC drives, there's a number of different technologies out there, and many of our customers are using a hybrid of lots of different storage layers. So whichever you can change something up here, you can change something below here, but your whole system can just be plugged together by using Diva Archive. And the reason I talk about that is because really it's the basis of our link service offering. So there are some challenges to implementing this service, to implementing a Diva Archive service, should I say. And that is, it can be a costly process. You need to buy software, of course. That's what we're here to sell at the end of the day. You need to buy SAN, NAS, tape libraries. You need to build a data center and staff it. You need to operate some operations 24/7 or whatever your customers demand of you. And then you need to plug it all together and integrate it with your automation systems, your MAM systems, or whatever it may be. And that's, again, costly, time-consuming. So what is Links? What Links is a cloud service where we've done all of that, really, for you. This is a service that is live today. It is being used by some pretty big customers. And it's a private cloud offering. So we've got some data centers. We've put our Diva Archive system, we've bought a tape library, we've got some nearline disk in front of that tape capacity, and we're hoping to provide you with an archive solution, a private, secure, yet dedicated archive solution for your requirements. So every time something comes into us, we store it twice. We make 2 tape copies to provide you with some hopeful and resilience within our service. And all of the Diva Archive functionality, which is back-ending this, has checksum functionality to ensure that what you send us and what we replicate in our system and what we send back to you is exactly what you sent us to ensure that there's no possibilities of file corruption. But it's more than just the content storage management. We've got our own Diva Director, which I guess we would call, it says MAM here, I think we'd like to call it a MAM Lite, perhaps. So it's not a full-range enterprise MAM like Dalit or all of those guys. That's a very large and expensive piece of software, but it does allow you to build metadata fields, put all your metadata in there manually or by XML, CSV, whatever, and then it does obviously let you search for files, restore them, but more than that, Nick has a concept of object aware. We are sort of content aware. So our software, Diva Archive, is able to understand the content that you have in that, whether that's an MXS file or a GXF file or whatever it may be, such that if you want to, you've got an hour-long asset, restoring that could take quite a while, by whatever means, but actually you only need 10 seconds out of it. You just want to take a short shot of that. You can go in, you can issue timecode in, timecode out. We'll go and fetch the tape, load it, find your 10 seconds from timecode A to timecode B. Diva Director is timecode accurate. and you can issue that restore back to us. So it's a good way of searching your content and having access to that content, either as a MAM, for those that don't have one, and if you already have a MAM, it's very useful as a backup MAM for disaster recovery. We're talking about drives failing. What happens if your building fails? What happens if something catastrophic were to happen to you and your content? This is effectively off-site, some miles away, and you have a MAM with a browser interface, HTTP, super secure, et cetera, but you'll be able to go in there and you can issue a content to somewhere else in the event of some catastrophic error. So why deploy it? There are a number of reasons why you want to deploy links. I mean, these are standard software as a service sort of terminologies, technologies, and reasons, I guess. There is no technical obsolescence. The problem that was highlighted earlier, this technical migration from LTO4 to LTO5 to LTO6, LTO6 is new, but rest assured in 2 or 3 years it will be LTO7, and 18 months or 2 years after that it will be 8, and et cetera, et cetera. This is going to be our pain now, not yours. There is no design confusion. We know our software. We know what CSM is. We know it better than anyone. It's ours at the end of the day. You don't need any capital for this. It's a service, as I've suggested. So whatever that capital expenditure would be, you can now buy it as a service. And we hope to prove to you it's going to be lower cost. This is a shared infrastructure across 1, 2, 10, hopefully hundreds of customers. So we hope to show you that it's not only going to be able to fix some of your workflows, fix some of your content protection issues, but it's also going to be cost effective. I suppose why us? Again, I've touched on this already, but we know our software better than anyone, and I do want to talk to you about XF, about specific file formats and how you can try and get some longevity. The tape storage medium is one issue, but it's the file format that you also need to consider when you're storing content for a long term, for an archive. I hope to see some of you today, and hope you come. I've got a small demonstration downstairs, and we'd love to talk to those that are interested. I'm here till around 3 o'clock today. I do need to leave a little early, unfortunately. But I know pretty much, maybe question 1 will be cost. But question 1 or question 2 will certainly be about security. How can you ensure that my content or my customer's content is protected? The customers that are using this today are actually 1 or 2 of them are some of the largest Hollywood content owners, brand names that we would all know. And what we've had to do of this first year of this process being launched, the service being launched, is meet some very strict security criteria, jumping through many hoops to ensure that we're meeting them. One of those formats we're using is the MPAA guidelines for protection of content, privacy and piracy issues. So I just want to bring this out there because I said it's going to be an issue for most of you. So I hope to illustrate that that's something that we've already considered. So AXF. There are some issues with LTFS. Nick touched on it earlier. But we understand it is a great file transport mechanism. An LTFS is a file system for a linear tape, as it suggests in the name. So it makes a linear tape looks like a folder on your system, and you can drop files and you can send it from location A to location B. But it doesn't offer any sort of media encapsulation. It doesn't span tapes. So what SMPTE announced many years ago, as I understand, they wanted to build an archive exchange format, which is what AXF is. And it was launched, and projects went on, and calls happened, and it somewhat stalled about 2 years ago. We needed this ourselves. And the reason we needed this ourselves is for single frame file formats, DPX files for the studios, because when we were writing a file to a tape, it was very, very low performance, because a tape runs linearly. Well, it starts to spin up, it goes very fast, and now the file's already written because it's such a small file. Then you've got to round back the tape, include the buffer, et cetera, et cetera. Archiving one file was taking days, not hours or minutes, which is what it should do when it's running 140 megabytes per second. Anyway, so we've built what is the XL format to fix that problem, but also to fix the longevity from some of our other customers who are some of the largest national archives in the world, who are not talking about archiving content for a year or 5, they're talking about archiving content for 50 or 100 years, for content that of national importance, etc. So the benefits, we think there are many. It does support LTO, it will sit on an LTO, an XF file. but it will sit on a FireWire drive, it will sit on your laptop, it will sit on a flash drive, because it's a file format at the end of the day. An encapsulated, self-describing, self-contained file with all of the metadata, all of the provenance in that file, so you know where it is, where it's come from, and guaranteeing that it's going to be the same as you sent in is what's going to come out. So we took that on, because it's somewhat stalled in SIMT. We worked on it, our CTO put a lot of hours with our team to bring this to something closer to a standard. We pushed that back to SIMT NAB of last year, and the wheels have been turning slowly, but we hope to have this ratified as a standard. We're told in June, I think. We'll wait to see, but we've embraced it. We have customers using it today. We hope to have this ratified as a standard. And as I mentioned, just some higher level information about really some of those kind of metadata management things that really make sure this content is good for the long term. The storage medium is an issue you still need to deal with in terms of migrating from the most recent tape format, but at least the files on there, you shouldn't need to deal with those. And that's just at a glance. Obviously, lots of people support LTFS. A lot of our customers really embrace LTFS as a standard. And there are some things that it's very good at. I understand that obviously Zendata and others use tar formats, and we accept that they're good at others. But what we've tried to do with AXF is create this open standard that everyone can use, and we hope that everyone starts to use it, because it does everything what LTFS does, and tar, and lots of other things besides. So just a thing about the architecture. Today, we do have 2 environments. One this side of the Atlantic and one the other side of the Atlantic for those that require it. And really there are a number of ways of getting content into us. We have a number of customers, as I showed you earlier, that are using our Diva Archive content storage management solution. And for those there, they can basically create a deeper archive or a backup service or even augment their existing capacity in the cloud environment. We do have the concept of links local. This is effectively a nearline appliance that we're going to install in your data center. It's going to provide you all the functionality of Diva Archive with about 16 terabytes of disk in it today. But again, no capital expenditure. We're going to invest in the hardware and all the software and configure it and help you integrate whatever you're using into it, but we're going to sell it you as a service. This is another operational expense, no capital expenditure. And the final one is Links Collect, which is really just if you just want to send content to us and use our MAM to restore content, you don't need API level integration. Links Connect is very simply a watch folder. Drop it here, we'll monitor it at the end of your VPN, or at the end of your connection into us. We'll bring it in, do all of our work, create the proxies, put it in Diva Director, and then you can use that MAM Lite to issue your content back if and when you need to. So there's a number of different workflows that you can use. Some of the core components, I've talked about Diva Archive. I'll flick through these slides quite quickly. I know we're limited for time, but Diva Archive is really sort of the leading CSM in the market, and that's what's back-ending. So this is not new code that's buggy. This is 12-year-old software that's been through many iterations and being used by many customers, as I've mentioned already. Diva Director, I've mentioned. DivaNet is a system that links one site to another. So if you are wanting the links local, we can build processes to have you that nearline storage, keeping your latest content and shipping everything else to the cloud. And there are customer portals that let you see how much you stored, what your bill is this month, how much you've ingested, how much you've taken back from us, regardless. So just one or two illustrations of how that workflow could work. Whatever systems you're using is at the top there. This is your environment. This assuming you've got a Diva or a Links local, of course. And we badly formatted, my mistake. That should say the Links Access Gateway. And that's effectively the DivaNet system. So the same APIs that are in Diva Archive are in here. So the same MAMs and everything else will integrate with those APIs very simply. And you can just basically issue a restore command to the Links Access Gateway. And then let's assume, for example, the Links local is down, your local environment is down, God forbid the building is down or something catastrophic was to happen, but for whatever reason that restore can't be acted upon, then the Links Access Gateway knows that instance B is over here. It automatically issues that request and the content is restored to you. And there are just a little diagram here of a plane or a lorry. Obviously, most people will want to restore or ingest content via some kind of WAN connection. We do have tape-based workflows as well. So if you do have some kind of LTO in your building and you want us to ship tapes back to you, you can do that one tape at a time if you like, or if at the end of the contract you want to migrate everything out, or at the start of the contract you want to ingest 100 terabytes in, put them into a tape. We send you a box, put them into this tamper-proof case with a padlock and etc. on it, ship it to us, and we will just, manage those tapes as they arrive. Some other workflows here, just how customers are actually using it in a day-to-day workflow. This is one of the large broadcasters in the US, actually, but they're actually building it into their active archive. Their active playout today. And just one last slide, just on links pricing. This is a real-world ROI calculation that we did for a customer. They came to us, they wanted to do X, Y, and Z. They wanted to build a disaster recovery environment, and we were happy to sell them that. If you've got a requirement where you'd rather have this in your own data centers, I'm sure our sales guys would happily sell you Diva Archive and help you integrate this to your environment. This is not the only way we have. We're still working with our existing products. But in this case, they came to us and had these requirements. This is their storage requirements, etc. And we talked to them about, by all means, this is what you'll cost to implement it. We got some information from them, and we showed them links. And this is effectively the graph of building it themselves. I've removed the numbers just to spare the innocent. But effectively, obviously, there was a large capital expenditure at the start, and every year there was a support contract from us and hardware manufacturers and tape stock because the capacity was growing, etc., etc. And this line is really links. So in this case, it was over 6 years, the ROI, and this is where I hope to show you that it can be cheap as a solution. And I've talked about big broadcasters today. I know that's not necessarily the audience I have today, but this is not something that starts at 1 petabyte and goes up. It's far smaller than that. And I'd like to understand your requirements and help see if it's something you're going to be able to use. Thank you.